fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver. Let's go, big fella. Hail, Silver! Aye!
Jeremiah Doolittle was a small, wiry man whose courage was far greater than his strength. His wife, Lena, was a large, rough type of woman who ran their ranch, the Bar Y, with an iron hand. As Jeremiah and Lena rode the trail near their place one afternoon, Jeremiah said,
Lena, there's no sense in our searching for those rustlers. Why can't we leave that sort of thing to the sheriff and his men?
Now stop the eternal yapping, Jeremiah. That sheriff is almost as helpless as you are, and that's putting it mild.
Lena?
No whelp of a coyote is going to steal my horses and have me sit back without raising a finger to find 'em. If I catch up with the those-thieving polecats, they'll be mighty sorry.
Yep, I reckon they will be at that. If I was one of 'em, I'd much rather meet the posse and take the chance of being strung up.
Listen, you ornery runt, for 2 pins, I'd
Wait
break
a
every...
minute, Lena.
Huh?
I saw something. Pull into the gully, quick. Get around.
Get up there. Oh, whoa. Well, out with it. What did you see?
Couple of riders topping a rise on the trail. I swear one of 'em was masked.
Maybe a couple of the rustlers.
That's what I thought. We better hide here till they go by.
Hide here? Not on your life. Grab your gun, Jeremiah. As soon as they come close, we'll give a warning shot and ride out in front of them to get the drop on them.
Now, Lena, think a minute.
Huh?
Do you really think that'd be wise? After all, you're a woman.
And you're half a man. Grab your gun, you nincompoop, before
sure.
Now, when I say the word, we'll pop right out and bar the way. I hear hoofbeats now.
You'd better think twice, Lena. I don't want you to get hurt.
You'll get hurt plenty if you don't do as I say. Come on, I'll fire a warning. Get up there.
Come on.
Stop where you are and reach. We got you covered.
Whoa.
A masked man and an Indian. They must be a couple of the gang. By thunder, we'll disarm them and take them to the sheriff at Bone Hill.
You're mistaken, ma'am. We're not outlaws.
Don't tell me I'm mistaken.
Nobody ever tells Lena that, mister. Wait a minute. Do you know Marshal Jim Fraser?
Very well.
Now, see here, Jeremiah. What's that got
Lena,
to do with...
you remember when we went to Modoc City, Marshal Jim told us about friends of his. A masked man and an Indian.
Say, that's right. Indian, what's your name?
Me, Tonto.
That's the one, that's the one. And they're riding a white stallion and a paint.
Mister, any friend of Marshal Jim's is a friend of mine. I recollect him telling me you helped the law.
That's right.
Let's see, folks call you the Lone Ranger, don't they?
Yes.
Lena, we're in luck. Maybe they'll help us find our stolen horses.
Stolen horses?
Uh-huh. But why not come back to the ranch with us? Then we'll tell you all about it over a cup of coffee.
We'd like to very much.
Good, then let's go.
Get up there. Come on.
Come on,
Get
Silver.
him up, Scout.
Later, at the Bar Y ranch house, the Lone Ranger and Tonto listened attentively as Lena and Jeremiah told what had happened.
You see, during the past 2 weeks, rustlers have taken nigh on to 50 of our best horses from the West Range. Picked out the best every time.
And the worst of it is nobody can find their trail.
Perhaps if we went out there, we could find tracks.
Maybe you could, but I doubt it. Anyway, it's worth a try. I'll ride out there with you, mister. I want Jeremiah to go to town for victuals.
Tonto, you go with Jeremiah. You might pick up some news in town while we're looking over the West Range. We'll meet you both here later.
Meantime, in a small ranch house a few miles from the Bar Y, Jess Wilkins, a rough, heavy-set man, looked up as one of his men entered.
Hi, Pete. How are the men coming along with that last lot of horses?
Fine, Jess. Got most of the brands changed to the Bar X. It don't take much to do it by using a running iron and adding a short line to the Y on the Bar Y brand.
Good. Having them hid out in Rocky Basin is too close for comfort. I want to get them branded and moved out of there within 24 hours. I'm meeting a buyer at the cafe in town tonight. If we make a deal, we'll drive those horses to Sandoz, where he'll pick them up.
It'll be a relief to get 'em sold and out of the way. Anyway, we all need cash about now.
I know. Those horses will bring a good price. We took the best out of both herds.
That's right. We got a fine bunch of 'em. Don't let that buyer cut you on the price.
You leave that to me. Well, I'll be getting on to town now. I want to get to Bone Hill before that buyer does. He might begin to ask a lot of questions.
Later that evening, Jeremiah Doolittle and Tonto arrived in town and went to the cafe. They stood at the back where they'd be inconspicuous and looked over the crowd. Tonto's interest was aroused by a conversation going on at a nearby table.
I'm sure we can come to terms, mister. And if you bargain for the whole lot, maybe I can manage to cut the price per head.
How many did you say there were in the lot?
50. All with the Bar X brand. Every horse is fine stock and as sound as they come.
Is that so?
Him talk about selling horses.
Yeah, I've been listening. He's lucky nobody rustled his herd like they did ours.
What price can you make per head delivered in Sandoz?
$50 a head. Cheap at the price.
That suits me, all right. Have them in Sandoz by day after tomorrow. I'll have the cash ready for you.
All right, it's a deal. You can count on us having those horses there when you say. Hey, I'll walk as far as the hotel.
All right.
Who, man, who have horses to sell?
Don't know, Tonto, don't know. But I heard him say something about the Bar X Ranch. He must be the owner.
That right. We go to a ranch now?
Might as well. We didn't find out anything here. Let's go, Tonto.
Easy, Scout. Easy,
Oh, now,
fella.
go on.
Get him up, Scout.
Get up there.
Meanwhile, the Lone Ranger and Lena rode to the West Range to look things over.
Oh, fellow, whoa.
Did you look for tracks, Lena? A large number of horses like that should be easy to trail.
Sure, mister. The sheriff come out here with a posse. We found that the tracks led into the creek over yonder. From there on, the trail was lost. The creek's shallow enough for him to drive those horses for miles in the water.
I see. Well, in the morning, Tonto and I'll ride along the creek in each direction and try to find the trail.
That's what the sheriff and the men did. They couldn't find anything. Maybe you and Tonto can do better than they did, though.
We'll do our best anyway. Shall we ride back to the ranch now?
Yeah, might as well. Let's get going.
Come on, Silver.
Get up, boy.
Later, at the Bar-Y Ranch House, Tonto spoke of the conversation he and Jeremiah had overheard at the cafe.
One feller talked to other feller about selling horses. They make deal for 50 head.
Anyone you know, Jeremiah?
Nope. But I've heard of the ranch he came from, the Bar X. It's a few miles east of here.
Why were you interested, Tonto?
Well, it's easy to change Bar Y brand to Bar X. And me think feller not look like regular rancher.
Oh, no use getting suspicious, Tonto. The Bar X is a legitimate brand, all right.
Why didn't you recognize the owner of the Bar X, Jeremiah, if the ranch is only a few miles from here?
Well, seems as how the ranch was sold at auction about 6 months ago. I never met the new owner.
Oh. Well, tomorrow, Tonto and I'll try to find the trail of the rustlers along the creek where your wife told me all traces of them disappeared.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto left early the next morning and rode the trail toward the creek.
Tonto, I've been thinking about what you told me last night. Before we try to look for the trail at the creek, we'll ride by the Bar X spread and have a look at it.
Me not like looks a new owner.
That's what made me decide to investigate. That and the remark you made about how easy it would be to change the brand.
It take only small mark with running iron to make change.
That's right. And according to what Lena Doolittle says, the Bar-Y Ranch is the only one to be hit with the rustlers. But other ranches around here have large herds of horses.
It's strange rustlers not take some of other horses.
Yes. Well, that must be the Bar X Ranch up ahead, Tonto. Jeremiah said it was on this trail.
It not look like good ranch.
It's badly run down.
That right. And me see long way cross range. Not see any livestock.
We'd better not ride any closer. Oh, Silver.
Oh, fella.
I'm going to find out as much as I can about the Bar X and about its owner. Let's turn off here, Tonto, and go at the creek. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
A few minutes later, Pete, who worked for Jess Wilkins, hurriedly entered the Bar X ranch house.
Hey, Jess. I just saw something that might interest you.
Yeah? What?
A couple of hombres rode up to the edge of the spread and looked things over. Then they turned and rode off down the trail toward the creek.
What of it?
Just this. One was wearing a black mask and riding a big white stallion. The other was an Injun on a paint.
So one of them wore a mask and rode a white stallion, huh?
Yeah. I wonder if you're thinking what I'm thinking.
I am. If you're thinking it was the hombre known as the Lone Ranger and an Indian friend of his.
Yeah, that's it. And if they're here snooping around, it means trouble.
It sure does, Pete. You say they rode toward the creek?
That's right.
Come on. We'll get a couple more of the men and go over that way. They won't be expecting us, so we'll hide till they come along and shoot them from ambush.
Shortly after the Lone Ranger and Tonto left the Bar-Y Ranch, Jeremiah and Lena sat in the kitchen having more coffee. Seeming to make a decision, Lena pounded the table with her fist and spoke.
By Jiminy, Jeremiah, from what you just told me about that Bar X and what the Lone Ranger and Tonto were thinking, I'm beginning to get the same idea they got.
Now, see here, Lena, there's no way to prove the new owner of the Bar X is stealing those horses and changing the brand. What's more, I didn't say the Lone Ranger and Tonto really thought that. I said they were thinking it would be easy to change the brand.
I know what you said. Anyway, it's downright ornery of us to be sitting here waiting while those two go out hunting trouble.
What is it you want to do?
Do? Why, you dim-witted little galoot. Did it ever occur to you that you might have offered to ride along with them in case they ran into trouble?
What? After all, Lena, those two have always been able to take care of themselves. I didn't think there was any need for me to go trailing along.
Of course you didn't think. You never do. That's what's the matter with you. Get up, you lazy runt, and get our horses ready.
Sure. But what do we want our horses for right now?
Because I decided we're going to ride over to the creek and see if we can meet 'em and give 'em some help. That's why. Now, don't stand there gawking. Get a move on and get the horses pronto.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger adventure. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue. The Lone Ranger and Tonto rode leisurely along the creek trail. They were slowly approaching a place along the trail where there was a gully on one side, and they couldn't see the four men waiting there with drawn guns and with handkerchiefs covering part of their faces.
Well, so far we've found nothing, Tonto. Of course, if the trail had been easy to spot, the sheriff and his men would have found it.
That's right, Kimasabi.
We'll ride on further and continue to hunt.
Maybe where creek bank get rocky, them take horses out.
Could be. If we look sharply, we may be able to find the trail they left, even though the posse failed.
That's right. Me think maybe if them...
Ambush ahead! Take cover! Quick!
Behind those boulders, Tonto. Quick, come on, Silver.
Get them up, Scout. Steady, big fella. Easy, Scout. Easy, fella. Shots come from gully up ahead.
Yes, we'll return their fire.
Jeremiah and wife shoot at them, too.
Good thing they warned us in time. Oh, 4 riders leaving.
That's right.
We cut across the range to join you. We saw those varmints aiming to plug you down from the cover of that gully.
We ought to get after them, the dirty coyotes.
I don't know. I'll follow their trail right now.
Not without us, you won't. If you're going up against trouble, Jeremiah and I are going to trail along with you.
That's right. I'd like to get my hands on one of those ordinary critters for about 2 minutes.
Maybe you'll get the chance. Let's get going. Easy, steady, big fella.
Scout, easy, fella.
Come on, Silver.
Get 'em up.
Get out.
Get
Come
up
on.
there.
Oh, boy. What are we stopping here for, Jess?
Yeah, we ought to keep going.
That masked man will be plenty of riled because we tried to gun him.
Yeah, he doesn't know who we are. Hadn't been for that crazy woman yelling out, we would have plugged him in the Indian cold.
Yeah, she sure spoiled everything. We're lucky none of us got hit the way they were throwing lead our way.
They're riding so hard, spoil their aim. Pete, I'll take Rusty and Joe with me to the basin where the horses are.
Huh?
I want you to go to the ranch.
What for?
See if any of the men are there. Tell them to come right over to Rocky Basin. We gotta drive those horses out and get them started to Sandoz.
All right, I'll join you later then. Come on, get up. Huh.
You two come along with me.
All right.
When Pete gets to Rocky Basin, we'll start the drive. I reckon most of the horses are branded by this time. All right, get her back.
Get up there.
Get up.
Following the trail left by the men who had waited in ambush, the Lone Ranger and Tonto with Lena and Jeremiah reached the spot where the outlaws had stopped a short time before.
Oh, Silver.
Now.
Those men stopped here where the trail branches.
And one of them turn off and go that way to Bar X Ranch.
So I notice. I'm beginning to put 2 and 2 together, Tonto. What we spoke of last night ties in with what happened today.
Wait, you mean that the owner of the Bar X might be the one who's been stealing our horses?
Yes.
Why, that dirty, sneaking coyote. Jeremiah, you and me'll ride to that
No,
ranch.
Lena. That wouldn't do any good.
Huh?
We'll follow the trail that goes into the hills, the one the other 3 followed. You go to town and bring the sheriff out here with some men. We'll leave a clear trail.
You mean I'm to miss the fun if you happen to find those sneaking killers?
Well, there might be more shooting.
That's exactly what I mean. I can outshoot any one of them when it comes to that.
I'm sure you can. But if you want to get your horses back, you better follow my plan.
Well, all right. I'll go for the sheriff and we'll follow you.
Good.
Get up there. Get on.
All right, let's go. Come on, Silver.
Get 'em up, Scout.
Get up there.
Later that morning, Jess Wilkins and the 2 men with him arrived at Rocky Basin, where others were still busy changing the Bar Y brands to the X with a running iron.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd be all through with those brands by this time.
We have only a few more to do, boss.
Yeah, that's right. All but 20 were finished last night.
Come on, boys.
All right. There. That's another one done.
How many more left, Jed?
Oh, howdy, boss. About 10, I reckon.
Well, hurry it up. There's an hombre around here that would like to catch us branding horses.
You mean a lawman? That he might trail you here to the basin?
He works for the law. It's a masked hombre called the Lone Ranger.
Holy smoke.
Yes. Maybe he will follow our trail here at that.
Yeah, he might. You take Joe and go guard the pass into the basin, Rusty. You see that masked man or Indian, gun him down.
Sure. Come on, Joe. We'll leave our horses here and walk to the pass over there. Let's move.
As the Lone Ranger and his companions approached the pass into the basin, the masked man called a halt.
Who's it with? Who, Scout?
Hold there. Well, what are we stopping for?
I recognize where we are, Jeremiah. Just around the bend in the trail ahead, there's a narrow pass into Rocky Basin.
Yeah, that's right.
The men we followed came this way. That may mean they have their horses hidden in the basin.
I never thought of that. It'd sure be a good place to hide them.
That's right. I figure they'll have guards at the pass, so we leave our horses over in that clump of trees. Then Tonto and I'll approach the pass on foot.
Oh, what do you want me to do?
You wait here until your wife comes along with the sheriff and the posse. They've had plenty of time to get here. Have them wait until they hear 2 shots, then come to the pass in a hurry.
Just as you say.
Let's dismount, Tonto. Easy, steady. Take Silver and Scout to that clump of trees, Jeremiah. That will be good cover for you until you spot the posse.
All right.
Tonto, you go to the left. I'll circle around to the right. Try to come up behind anyone you might see guarding the pass.
Me ready.
Good. Let's get started.
Using the rocks and bushes for cover, the Lone Ranger and Tonto moved in from either side toward the pass into the basin. As the masked man neared the entrance, he saw one of the men seated on a rock and watching the trail. Across and a little nearer the pass, he saw the others standing near a tree. He waited patiently until his keen eyes detected Tonto, moving like a shadow from rock to rock until he was almost upon the other guard. Then the Lone Ranger crawled up behind the rustler seated on the rock. Suddenly he saw the flash of Tonto's gun butt as the wary Indian brought it down.
Hey, what the...
Quiet, you! Yeah, we got them both. Tonto.
Kimasabi, you come here. See into basin.
Moving quickly over to Tonto's side, the Lone Ranger looked where Tonto pointed.
The stolen horses. Men are using a running iron on one of them.
Me sure them stolen horses. What we do now, Kimasabi?
The sheriff and the posse must be at the grove by now. I'll give the signal of 2 shots for them to come here. And we'll keep their rustlers from coming out. This is the only way out of Rocky Basin. All right, here goes.
Rustlers run to get on horses. Then try get out. If sheriff don't come...
Have your guns ready. We'll try to keep them inside.
Sheriff and posse come now, Kimasabi. Then bring Silver and Scout.
Here we are. Great day. Look, my horse is in there.
So this is the masked man you were telling about, huh? How are we going to get in there after him, mister?
Send some of your men to the rim of the basin. The rest of us will stay here. When they see they haven't a chance, they'll give up.
Yeah, that's right. All right, some of you men get up there to the rim of the basin pronto.
Right, Sheriff.
Cover what men you see inside. Then if they won't give up, we'll let them have it.
We'll get him, Sheriff.
Well, get up there right away.
All right, come on, let's go. Get up there.
They're firing at us. Give them some lead, man.
The horses are stampeding. They're coming out this way through the pass.
With some of the men up on the rim and the rest of us waiting out here, those crooks haven't a chance. Here come the horses. Watch out, everybody.
Kimasabi, that fella we hear talking cafe last night. Him riding in middle of herd to get way.
The men on the rim are firing at the rustlers in there. Move in and help capture them. I'll go after the one who just went out with the herd. He's breaking away and heading down the trail. Easy, steady, big fella. Come on, Silver!
Taking advantage of the stampeding herd of horses, Jess Wilkins, who had still been in the saddle, galloped his horse along with the first of the herd to go through the pass. The Lone Ranger was determined to catch the leader of the gang and urged Silver onward.
Come on, Silver! That's the big fella!
Jess emptied his gun at the masked figure following him, but the shots went wild. Then he gave his attention to outrunning his pursuer. But Silver was more than a match for the horse Jess rode, and gradually closed the distance between them until the Lone Ranger rode alongside. With a mighty effort, the masked man leaped toward the other.
I want you, mister.
Jess was dragged from the saddle, and the 2 men rolled on the ground, exchanging blows. A moment later, they were on their feet.
I'll settle you. Try again.
The 2 men fought savagely for a few moments. Then the Lone Ranger moved in with 2 well-placed blows.
This should do it.
Wait. Oh, wait, I'm down.
Get up.
Look, wait a minute. I give up.
You all right, Kimasabi?
Yes, Tonto. There's your man, Lena.
You call that a man?
Huh. Say, he's the one who owns the Bar X Ranch. Such as it is, we got the whole gang.
Hey, we're changing the brands, all right. We found a couple of the strays from the herd that still have the Bar Y brand.
Good. Tonto and I'll help round up the horses before we leave.
Well, no need for that. I brought plenty of men. Some of them have already gone after the horses. We can handle them along with the crooks.
In that case, we'll leave for Modoc City.
Boy, give our regards to Marshal Jim when you see him again.
Yes, of course. Easy, steady, big fella.
Easy, fella.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Come on, Silver.
Scout. Yeah, I reckon your friends are riding off in a hurry to help somebody else, Lena.
They don't hang around when a job's done.
Yep, that's right. I knew the masked man would find that gang and those stolen horses, and he did right enough.
Yep, he did. And he led us to the crooks, too. Well, we see that they all get what's coming to them. By the way, Lena, who is that masked friend of yours, anyway?
Someone smarter than you, Sheriff, and far more of a man than Jeremiah will ever be.
Lena, for once, you sure spoke the truth.
Anybody'd know what I say is true when they find out the masked hombre is the Lone Ranger.
I'll Silver.
This is a feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated, created by George W. Trendle, produced by Trendle Campbell Muir Incorporated, directed by Charles D. Livingston, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer.